thoughts about the Clemson situation, both in terms of Bryant moving on and the situation that they have with Trevor Lawrence being the guy. And now this is the second star quarterback, Bryant with the experience, Hunter Johnson not so much, but with the 5 stars next to the name, that has been disgruntled and moved on.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I do. Clemson doesn't beat Texas A&M without Kelly Bryant. Trevor Lawrence is an outstanding player. He's going to be an outstanding quarterback for Clemson. He's already shown his ability in spurts throughout the year when he's gotten in the game. Obviously, he's got a ton of upside as a passer and a guy who can really stretch the field, extremely accurate, and he's a good decision maker, as displayed through his play throughout the year so far. Dabo is obviously comfortable enough with what he's done both on the practice field and the games he's played in so far to announce that he's a starting quarterback. Clemson, I think, needs Trevor Lawrence and his passing ability late in the season when they start playing against teams with defenses that can amplify the flaws in the passing game that Kelly Bryant possessed. I think Trevor Lawrence, even though he's a true freshman, obviously has great ability to throw the football down the field. That's clear. The problem is that I think they're going to miss Kelly Bryant's leadership. I think they're going to miss his ability as a runner at the quarterback position. I think he's a better passer than a lot of people gave him credit for. And he's been in a lot of big-time games on the biggest stages, and that's something you can't quantify when you're throwing a true freshman into the mix. Clemson is in a great spot to make a run at a national championship. They have a great defense. We know the defensive line, how good that is. They got playmakers all over the offense, even though it's a pretty young group overall. Playmakers everywhere, including Trevor Lawrence. Great running back in Travis Etienne, and he's a guy who's just scratching the surface. They got a loaded backfield with a lot of guys who are capable of producing. This is an absolutely loaded team with an excellent coaching staff. Dabo Swinney, in my opinion, is the second best coach in college football behind Jimbo Fisher. Or not Jimbo Fisher, I'm sorry, Nick Saban. So we're in this situation now with Clemson where it's going to be a wait and see. I don't think there are enough teams in the ACC right now who can really push Clemson. It's a very mediocre at best conference at the moment. I'm not sure where a loss is going to come for Clemson in the regular season, if it does at all. We're really not going to know how big of an impact the loss of Kelly Bryant is on this team until late in the season, in my opinion. I'm talking ACC championship where they'll be heavily favored against whoever they play. College football playoff against whoever they play in the semifinal. And then if they're fortunate enough to get into a national championship, is a true freshman in Trevor Lawrence, while he's an outstanding talent, is he good enough to guide the Tigers to a national championship? And if he is, then this will be proven to be the right decision. If not, I think Dabo's going to be kicking himself because, look, Clemson was in this spot where they were playing both the quarterbacks. Everything was going really well. No controversy really at all, in my opinion. You had two guys who really complemented each other very well. And I don't think Dabo had to make this move. But now that he's done it, and it's Trevor Lawrence's show, we're going to learn a lot about the true freshman, especially if the games get tight and the offense goes stagnant at any point. And Dabo's not going to have the luxury now of turning to a guy off the bench that he can trust because, Kelly Bryant's now departing to another program. We'll just have to wait and see.
And it's a good point that you make about the mindset of Trevor Lawrence playing the games that he already has. And obviously, to date, the most pressure-packed situation he's had to face is a tight game, but always with a lead, but a tight game at Texas A&M in front of a hostile crowd. But he had the support of a Kelly Bryant who basically led the team down the field during most of those scoring drives. And Kelly Bryant, unfortunately, the public perception, the fan perception of his performance throwing the ball downfield came, I believe, on the strength of two games. The championship game in the ACC against Miami, in which he was not asked to, nor was there any need for him to throw the ball downfield. They were clearly the dominant team, especially on that night, and it was such a rout so quickly that he became a running quarterback, protector of the ball, and that's what the game was. And then most notably against Alabama, and he just really did not have a whole lot of help. He didn't play well, but that Alabama defense was beating down anybody on that field at that point, the way that they were playing. And they were just a dominant defense, and particularly in that game. Now, in terms of Dabo leaving or having an issue with the locker room, I just think that he has probably, maybe not with this specific team, but overall in the program, about the best morale. He has built about the best environment of a big-time college football program that I've seen. And I just have to think that, yes, players aren't always going to agree with a decision, but I think they trust the decision maker. And I think that he will stabilize that situation. And if he has to have those heart-to-heart talks with some of his leaders in the locker room, then he's going to have that. And I think he's got their trust and he's earned their respect. And I don't see that being an issue myself.
I wanted to throw out a few teams.
Sure.
Nebraska. How does he not go to Nebraska? They need a quarterback.
Sure.
I mean, man, Nebraska, UCLA, and I forgot the other team. Also, what was I going to say? Okay, comparing Clemson with Trevor Lawrence's offense and wide receivers to Ole Miss wide receivers.
Oh boy, yeah.
We handled them pretty good. Would you say they're kind of close?
I think they're real close. Yes, between DeMarcus Lodge and Brown. And yeah, it's a pretty good comparison you got going there. Absolutely.
Okay, so Bama doesn't have to worry about Trevor Lawrence and those wide receivers because we already went to Ole Miss and handled that. That's all I wanted to know.
The only difference between those two wide receiver cores, I would say, is that the top three at both schools are pretty comparable. If for whatever reason you had to go past the top three, the Clemson keeps a couple other guys on the bench that were 4- and 5-star recruits as well. That'd be the only difference. But in terms of the guys that are on the field that need to play most of the time on the field, and maybe you can't account for Hunter Renfro's gamesmanship and just his ability to play in the clutch. Maybe you can't account for that.
I hate that.
That's difficult to measure.